Look, the energy that this guy puts into his music, you can't recreate. Hey guys, it's Mr. I'm here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Indian reaction. Today we are back with another Punjabi singer who I've not checked out in about a year. I've really been missing out on what this guy's been doing. He's been conquering America. He's been on Jimmy Fallon. He's been doing performances with Ed Sheeran. And from what you guys are saying, he's really popping off. It's obviously Diljit Dosanjh. And he's got a load more music that he's been dropping over the last 6 months. We're going to be checking out 4 of the biggest songs that he's recently dropped today. And
they said Punjabi music would never crack America. The industry gatekeepers laughed. The mainstream media ignored it. And then Diljit Dosanjh walked into the Met Gala, performed on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and shared a stage with Ed Sheeran in front of thousands of screaming fans. And suddenly, nobody was laughing anymore. This is not a comeback story. This is a takeover. And it has been building right in front of everyone's eyes, in plain sight, for years. But here's what makes this bigger than just a viral moment or a one-hit crossover. The music industry tried to put a ceiling on him. A Punjabi folk artist from India had no business headlining North American arenas. That was the unspoken rule. And Diljit Dosanjh didn't just break that rule. Let's talk about who this man actually is. Because if you don't know the full story, you're only seeing the surface. Diljit Dosanjh started from a place most global superstars never come from. Rooted deeply in Punjabi folk tradition, his music was always something different. Raw, rhythmic, emotionally alive. His voice carries a culture in it. That was always a massive name in South Asia. But the Western world, they were sleeping. And while they were sleeping, Diljit was quietly building, album by album, show by show, appearance by appearance.
Yeah, I've been missing out on a lot of stuff, and today is going to be the day that we catch up and finally see what he's been doing. So, over the past year, Diljit Dosanjh has gone even further global. From launching his Aura era, which I believe is one of his albums, and major North American arena shows, to collaborating with artists like Sia, David Guetta and Jason Wang, while also continuing his crossover into Hollywood-style international visibility through appearances like the Met Gala and other appearances on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. So the Met Gala, I didn't know that. So this guy is proper like pushing his way into the, American Hollywood mainstream, which is really good to see. He was always, when I checked him out a year ago, he was always massive, but he wasn't like...
The Aura album wasn't just music. It was a declaration. It was Diljit standing in front of the entire global entertainment industry and saying, I'm not adjusting for you. But here's the part nobody is really talking about. Diljit didn't just collaborate with any artists. He went to Sia, he went to David Guetta. He brought them into his world, and they came willingly. Think about what that means for a second. David Guetta, one of the most commercially dominant producers of the past 2 decades, is on a Diljit Dosanjh track. And when you hear the song, it isn't Diljit chasing Guetta's sound. It is Guetta's production bending around Diljit's voice, around that unmistakable Punjabi cadence. That shift in power, that is not an accident. That is exactly the point. And Sia, her voice on that track carries all of her raw vulnerability, her commercial power, going back to back with a Punjabi vocalist on a beat that pulses with enough energy to fill any arena on the planet. 2 completely different worlds colliding, and somehow it sounds like they were always meant to exist together. Critics who dismissed him as a regional artist had nothing left to say.
This feels huge, man. I mean, Sia, a huge vocalist, but seeing her go back to back with Diljit on this, it almost feels like this massive cultural crossover of 2 really talented artists. And it's been a while since I've heard Sia on a beat this energetic, but not only that, with her kind of flowing over the top with this speed and this kind of a choppy nature, but you can still hear that classic Sia tone of...
Now let's talk about The Tonight Show, because that performance told you everything you needed to know about where Diljit Dosanjh stands in 2026. Jimmy Fallon's stage has always been a launching pad for artists who are either already globally dominant or dangerously close to becoming it. When Diljit walked out and performed Mori, a song soaked in Punjabi energy, delivered entirely in Punjabi, The audience didn't need a translation. They felt it. That bounce, that rhythm, that vocal precision, that even non-Punjabi speakers could not stop nodding their heads to. That is the power of music that comes from a real place. You cannot fake that in a studio. You cannot engineer that with algorithms. The energy he brings is not manufactured. That is the thing his global peers and collaborators keep coming back to. You can hear it in the production of every single track he drops. Old-school hip-hop influences layered beneath traditional folk instruments, a flute breaking through a trap beat, a classical Punjabi string arrangement floating over an electronic bass line. Nobody else is doing this at his level. Nobody.
Influence visuals and production styles with that Punjabi folk and these classical traditional instruments. It just creates such a gorgeous sound. And then you've got his voice over the top, which just brings that culture to life. He's like, that's my girl, man. It's got a real punch to it, this beat. A real punch. But then in the background, you've got the strings. And again, you've got the traditional instruments that kind of gives it a much more cultured and interesting feel.
And the arena run, let's not gloss over that. North American arena shows sold out, an Indian artist, singing primarily in Punjabi, filling arenas that the Western mainstream hadn't imagined would ever vibrate to the sounds of a doll. That is not just a music success story. That is a cultural shift happening in real time. But here is where it gets even more interesting. And this is the part the entertainment industry doesn't want to fully acknowledge yet. Diljit is changing the rules of what a crossover looks like. For decades, the model was simple. If you were a non-English artist and you wanted global success, you changed your sound, you softened your identity. You made music that felt safe for Western audiences. You adapted. That was the price of admission. Diljit refused to pay it. Every collaboration he does, every stage he stands on, every television appearance he makes, he shows up fully as himself. The hat, the Punjabi, the folk instruments buried inside the production, the vocal runs that belong to a tradition centuries older than the modern pop industry. He carries all of it everywhere he goes, and the world is not rejecting it.
This guy don't care. This guy don't care one bit. This is one of my favorite sides of Diljit, I'm not gonna lie. I guess there's a little... That just sums up that song all in one. You know, you're trying to film a very serious kind of mafia-esque scene, and the actors, when the playback starts, can't help but just start jiving along. You can't not nod your head to a song like that. The beat, the rhythm behind his rap, it's so contagious. It makes you just want to dance and bop along. It really does. Definitely one of my favorite sides of Diljit has got to be his rapping. Like, he is so strong, especially when he's in that kind of a mood where he just wants to carry on and carry on, almost without taking a break.
The world is chasing it. His live performances have been described as something close to religious experiences by fans who have never heard a single word of Punjabi in their lives. Because what he is delivering is not just sound. It is presence. It is identity. And when an artist performs from that place, from a deep, unshakable sense of who they are and where they come from, it crosses every language barrier there is. The producer Future worked with him.
Right, on to track number 3. It's going to be called Dealer. He's been going crazy, Diljit, I'm not going to lie. This is another one from March, so he's been releasing a lot of music, and a lot of this has been going big in America. So this is produced by Da Future, and as always with Diljit, we have got another music video. Dealer. He likes these cinematic introductions, doesn't he, to his music? Movie quality, though, I must say.
Ed Sheeran stood on a stage in Birmingham and performed alongside him before thousands of fans. These are artists who recognize something real when they hear it. Never quite fitting into either, Diljit became something for them that no marketing campaign could ever manufacture. He became proof. Proof that you do not have to erase yourself to be seen. Proof that your culture is not a liability in the global market. It is your greatest competitive advantage. Record labels that spent decades filtering out anything too regional, too traditional, too niche for Western audiences are now watching an artist who built entirely outside their system sell out arenas they can no longer ignore. A full English language project, more Hollywood crossovers, more strategic appearances in spaces that have historically kept South Asian artists at arm's length. Whether Diljit takes those paths or continues building entirely on his own terms remains to be seen. The ceiling was already broken.
I think the natural talent was always there. His vocal was always just so pristine sounding. He had brilliant production behind his music as well, he had a great vision for his songs. But what has really come on is his confidence. He feels like he's just kind of got that belief now that he can conquer the world. And that's exactly what he's doing, especially in America, man. It's crazy the stuff that he's doing. But either way, I'm going to be heading over to the Patreon now for the bonus reaction. And a lot of you guys have been requesting this. It is Ed Sheeran and Diljit Dosanjh, Shape of You and Naina. I think it's like a mashup. This is performed.
So, here's what we want to know. When an artist refuses to compromise and still conquers the biggest stages in the world, was the system ever protecting the audience, or was it always just protecting itself? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you are not yet subscribed to Celebzova, the home of real celebrity exposes, because we are just getting started.